Hello and welcome to An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about the 1972 Spanish-Italian horror film Murder Mansion. And we start off in this film by meeting three travellers who are out on the road. One is a somewhat creepy guy in a car, one is a handsome motorcyclist, though obviously he's wearing a helmet to start with, so I don't really see that, and the third is a young female hitchhiker. A dense fog sets in as the three of them make their journeys, and the trio, as well as several other characters, end up at a secluded mansion in the middle of nowhere. The owner welcomes them by telling them a bunch of creepy stories, and then packs them all off to their various bedrooms. And, if you've ever seen a movie before, you'll probably be none too surprised to learn that bad things start to happen. Who or what is the cause of these bad things, however, is kept quite mysterious for most of the film. Maybe it's zombies, maybe it's witches, maybe it's vampires, maybe it is something else entirely. So you could stumble across this film under a number of names: Murder Mansion, The Murder Mansion, Maniac Mansion, Exorcism Mansion, and just to break the trend there, The Scream are just some of the English language titles that it has enjoyed. But this is not, however, one of those cases where a movie has been extensively recut and reissued with a new name. Under all of these titles, it's essentially the same movie. The extent of edits that I am aware of is that some editions have a little bit of nudity, and some editions, including the main US DVD release, have had all of that stuff cut out. Anyway, so whatever title you see it under, you're probably getting pretty much the same movie. Is that movie any good? Well, it has some good bits, and I know that there are some people who do like it. I wasn't that enthused, so let's talk about what did and did not work for me. So first of all, I very much like the film's opening sequence. We begin with an extended dialogue-free section where the motorcyclist and the car driver have a game of brinksmanship on the road. This not entirely friendly contest ends when they come across an attractive young hitchhiker, Laura, and they both stop to offer her a lift. Laura opts for the comfort of the car. Seems reasonable enough, but soon regrets that decision. While she avoids anything too unpleasant actually happening to her, the driver, a Mr. Porter, definitely comes across as a creep. When he stops at a roadside diner and the motorcyclist, who's named Fred, also turns out to be there, Laura reverses her earlier decision and decides to ride pillion on the motorcycle. And I think this is a good sequence because it gets a lot done in a relatively minimal amount of time and with almost no exposition. It establishes contact and tension between the three central characters. It gives Laura and the audience reason to be suspicious of Porter. It conversely sets up Fred as someone we can probably trust. And it also establishes Fred as at least a bit of a daredevil, given his vehicular shenanigans before he picked up his passenger. You're on a motorcycle, maybe, picking a fight with a car is not the most sensible of things to do. It suggests more bravery than common sense. Overall, it's nice work at establishing a group of characters and getting them together and giving them some history. And then things go wrong, at least in my opinion. The cast reaches the lonely mansion, and the deftness of storytelling just disappears in favour of a lot of very heavy-handed spooky. Fred and Laura's introduction to the place involves meeting a hysterical heiress who has been chased by strange figures in the fog. Then as soon as they get inside, the owner regales them with the tales of both vampires and witches before packing them off to bed. And the film continues to throw out all sorts of horror concepts and iconography, while at the same time also sort of leaning heavily into Agatha Christie-esque genteel crime story tropes. I imagine you're all wondering why I've gathered you here, and playing very, very coy about what's actually going on. And what is going on turns out to be quite a lot. There are all sorts of secret passages, disguises, and other shenanigans that led more than one reviewer of this film to liken the movie with Scooby-Doo. And ultimately, this mishmash of ideas and styles leads to the film, in my opinion, having a significant identity problem. Is it a horror movie? Is it a Poirot-style mystery? Or is it a slapstick Scooby-Doo adventure? The film doesn't seem able to decide, and it's certainly nowhere near clever enough to be all three at once. So for a long time, it rather flounders along, and my interest in the characters and their fate similarly faded as its momentum disappeared. And it's a shame that the main body of the film is such a confused and frankly rather tedious mishmash, not just because it wastes that strong start, but also because in its final doom, I felt like the film recovered some of its earlier panache. The ending sequence is a decent one, with the character showing a refreshingly kind of realistic attitude and response to their situation. But for me, it was too little, too late. The good opening and the decent conclusion aren't enough to salvage the film. The dull and clumsy section between these bookends is just too big a flaw for the movie to be a satisfying whole to me. If you've more tolerance or affection for the goofy mishmash of tropes that get trundled out during those sort of 40 plus minutes where the film kind of goes in circles, and you don't mind that the actual progress of the story is really rather slow, then you might feel differently. Certainly there are other reviewers out there who enjoyed the film more than I did and have given it much more positive reception. But there you go. At the end of the day, for me, good ending, good start, pretty good ending, shame about the middle, sums up Murder Mansion. Next time, a very different kind of horror, with the 1970 revisionist western Soldier Blue, stained with the blood of the innocent, as the tagline says. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.